Hey Moonbeams, Luna popping in. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. I appreciate you for being here. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so that we will remain connected. It's been a little while since my last video as I have been slowly recovering from my hip replacement. It was a lot more involved than I was prepared for, and it kind of kept me a little silent while I was on the road to recovery. It's been 4 weeks since my surgery, and tomorrow, the 18th, will be one full month since I had my right hip replacement procedure. And guys, it was a doozy. I've been in physical therapy now for 2 weeks. That is challenging. Uh, I was very surprised that the limited mobility that I did have and how weak my leg still is, actually. I was able to accomplish something at my last physical therapy that I wasn't able to do at the previous one just a few days before. So I definitely see the progress. But me being me, I made a little mistake and I tried to pick up a case of water, which was way too heavy for me. And I didn't know I wouldn't be able to pick it up. And I irritated my groin area. I forget what she called it. It's a muscle. I forget what she called it. Flexor, I think is what she called it. And I had physical therapy today, and once we started doing things, it started to irritate it again, and it became very aggravated. So I told her I might, and the PT also suggested maybe I skip my next session and just let this rest a bit. I meet with my surgeon for the first time since surgery next week sometime. So I'm pretty, I don't want to say anxious, but I would like to see him because there are several questions that I have. Like, I didn't know that my scar was going to be 8 inches long, and it is literally 8 inches long. I measured it. And I didn't know about the groin area and how sensitive that would be after this procedure. I feel like there was a lot of things that could have been mentioned beforehand that just wasn't. And maybe I could have been more prepared, or maybe I would have anticipated some things a little bit differently, but that wasn't the case. So I had what I had, and I don't feel that it was enough. I don't feel like I was prepared enough at all. So if I highly suggest that if you are about to have this procedure, do a little more research than I did. I still wouldn't say look at the video. I still wouldn't say look at a graphic video of the procedure. I still haven't done it, and I'm post op, but I still have to have my left hip done as well. So I'm not going to look at it. I don't think it would benefit me to see a video of how they rip out my insides. It took me about 2 weeks, 3 weeks of using the walker before I graduated back to my walking staff. And I tell you, it was a doozy initially because again, it was the groin. The groin area hurt more almost. It hurt more than the scar, the incision site. Uh, it hurt. It was the most painful part of my recovery. And again, I just wasn't prepared for that. So I want to stress that if you are having this procedure, talk to your physician, your surgeon, about the groin and how it can be affected so you can be way more prepared than I was. Make sure you have heating pads and ice packs readily available if you're going to have this procedure at all. I mean, if you're going to have this procedure, because you can't use them both. Now, you can't use the heat on your incision on the hip replacement initially. They only want you to use ice. And I think after maybe 3 or 4 weeks, they let you put heat, they let you put heat on it. But I found that the moist heat works better than just a regular heating pad. They used that on me in physical therapy, and I was like, okay, wow, this is way different. And it just felt much better. So that's another recommendation that I have for you. At today's physical therapy, she took like a little spatula, maybe the head was maybe that big, maybe that wide, and like one of those painting utensils for artists, where you scrape and separate the paint and blend it together, like a little spatula. It was like that. She put some cream on it, and then she just used the spatula and just kind of went in circular motions up and down the length of the scar, which was tender at the beginning. I don't know if it was the beginning or the ending of the scar because I don't know which way they cut me. They cut me from left to right or right to left. I don't know. But at the beginning or the ending of the incision was super tender still, and I wasn't able to tolerate much of that. But the rest of it, I was able to tolerate. The swelling is really really reduced in the incision area. The incision is completely healed. Well, the outside of it, I'm sure the inside is still doing some little tethering together, but the outside of the incision is completely closed and healed. It's pretty gnarly. It turned really dark, like a dark slash on my booty and booty thigh. It's like it's a really weird position. But when I put on underwear, it's partially maybe 2 inches of it is covered by my underwear, but the rest is exposed, and it comes down to my thigh to kind of give you a visual of where the scar is located. The overall procedure wasn't the procedure went fine. I was in recovery in a couple of hours. I had a hard time coming out of the anesthesia, though. I was really, really out of it. And I still think it's insane and inhumane for them to do this on an outpatient procedure and send you home the same day. Even though I was fortunate enough for them to keep me one night and send me home the next day, I still wasn't ready to go home the next day. I wasn't ready at all. And this is just another example of the crap that we deal with insurances, because the scheduler, all the physicians and staff that I spoke to regarding the procedure says it's the insurance that deems this procedure as one elective, which makes it an outpatient surgery, which is insane. It's just insane. I don't. We need better treatment. That's for sure. Because I could have stayed in the hospital for at least 3 days before I feel as though I could have possibly come home and been able to somehow take care of myself. And it was still challenge. It was very challenging for me those first 2 weeks. The first week was almost hellish. The second week, I got the reprieve that I was looking for, and it's been a little bit easier, of course, since. But the recovery is long, it's arduous, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a lot that happens, and when you have autoimmune diseases on top of this, it triggers all kinds of stuff. You know, it triggered neuropathy, something crazy, like I've never had it before. I had it in the bottom of both of my feet, which I've never had it before. It's usually just been on the tops of my toes, like right there at the tops of my toes, where I call them toe chompers, and it would go down my right leg from my in between my knee and my ankle was where I had the neuropathy pain, and just on the tops of my toes, both feet. But I never had those crazy electrical shocks that I had in my feet after the surgery. It was almost unbearable. It was actually frightening. It was so painful. So you just never know what side effects you're going to have. No two patients are the same. So comparing yourself to somebody else is either going to make you depressed or feel as though you're not doing enough, or you're going to be over confident. You know, you can't compare yourself to anybody. Each and every one of us is unique. Our bodies are totally unique, and just because Joe Schmo over here could do something in 3 days doesn't mean you will be able to. Or just because you did something in 3 days doesn't mean Joe Schmo will be able to do it. So we need to be show more empathy for the individuality of recovery. But having said that, guys, I am recovering, and I do meet with my surgeon next week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go ahead and schedule the surgery for the other hip, which I'm game. Let's just go ahead and knock out all this pain all at once. Be done with it, because this is a long recovery, and they say it can be 1 to 2 years for total recovery from a hip replacement. Although they'll want to say, oh, 3 to 6 months. That's not accurate. That is not accurate. Read for yourself. You know, they want to just make it seem like it's just, oh, it's just like it's easier than a knee replacement. Compared to what? Says who? You know, that's sort of like ableism, comparing patience to one another and recovery time to one another. Oh, well, they did this, so you should be doing this. Who says? You know? And I just pray that anybody that is going through this and they have somebody in their life who does that, because I do. But I'm firm, I'm strong enough in who I am, and I'm knowledgeable enough about my diagnoses to know that they don't know what the heck they're talking about, and also screw them, because they don't have enough empathy. They don't have any empathy, in fact. Uh, but that's another story. Just be gentle with yourself and be your strongest ally. And don't put your emotions in the hands of anyone else. You know what you feel like, you know what you're experiencing. Live your truth and be blessed. Peace, love, and blessings. Luna out.